Hi guys, my name is Lee, and right now I'm a member of Writing Presentation Skills class, which is taught by Professor Jeffrey Miller. Well, as you may know, I am Vietnamese, but right now I'm studying abroad in South Korea. And as a matter of fact, I have received tons of questions regarding where I'm gonna work after I graduate, whether I'm gonna work in Vietnam or not. Honestly speaking, me, I don't even know. But I do know one thing that the answer of such question will directly link to the topic that I want to present today. That is the persistence of brain drain phenomenon in Vietnam and its proposed solution. So I wonder if any of you here have ever heard about the term Việt kiều. Well, actually, foreigners may not be aware of it, but I'm pretty sure Vietnamese people are very, very familiar with this word. And, they somehow want to be a part of it even. So, what's that? Việt kiều refers to a Vietnamese community residing in other countries. In reality, the size of this group has grown really quickly throughout the years, and as a result, it causes a very contentious issue in Vietnam that is called brain drain. So, what is brain drain? Let's go through its definition. Brain drain is a phenomenon in which a large number of skilled and well-trained individuals leave their native country to live and work in another country, which offer them with higher income and better, living standards. Well, indeed, the problem of brain drain is extremely fatal to Vietnam, especially the economic growth of the country. So, there are two potential ways to solve such problem. The first one is to enhance the education quality, and the second one is implementing some effective policies. Brain drain undoubtedly is a really, really hot issue in Vietnam these days, and the government is highly aware of it. So there have been, there are numerous policies which are, enacted, changed, and implemented in order to improve the situation of the problem. The primary cause of this issue is because of non-returning Vietnamese overseas students. And, Vietnamese people, particularly educators, typically believe that studying abroad would result in a better future. So, students who are educated by them would automatically remain the same belief. As a consequence, they keep, chasing life-changing opportunities by reaching higher education, and thus they decide to study abroad. And the non-returning Vietnamese overseas students is originated from two smaller causes. The first one is because of the unfit working and studying environment. While students studying abroad have tons of chances to access high technology that facilitates their work, there are relatively few chances to do such proper research in Vietnam. Furthermore, there are still a lot of, obstacles in the educational system, such as injustice. Moving to the second small cause, that is because of the insufficient policies that have been implemented throughout 10 years in Vietnam. Although Vietnamese government did enact a lot of policies relating to such problem, however, it doesn't work. It didn't work at all. I mean, for example, especially there are still a lot of limitations relating the policies, which leads to its ineffectiveness. For example, especially about the policies for intellectuals in the scientific and technology industry. Despite the government's awareness of the importance of this sector in the economic development of the country, they still didn't pay those intellectuals in this field a proper amount of salary. Furthermore, despite the occasional return of some certain intellectuals back to Vietnam after training, they were not placed in the right positions. So let's move to some solutions to solve such problem. The first solution to be mentioned is high quality intellectuals need high quality educational environment, which means upgrading educational quality would contribute hugely to encourage Vietnamese foreign talents to return back to Vietnam. So in this big solution, there are two smaller steps to be suggested. To begin with, an emphasis on ideological education is critical not only for students but also for parents and teachers. Why? Because parents play a hugely important role in the rearing process of a child, and teachers, they directly have an impact on how a child would shape their mindset. Because in Vietnam, children go to school at a very young age, around like 4 years old. So as a result, an ideological education program for parents and teachers should be deemed mandatory, with the goal of enriching the nation's devoting spirit to its future growth. In this way, youngsters will be directly affected by them and retain a desire to devote to the country's progress in the future, which means Vietnamese intellectuals living abroad who share this perspective are more likely to return home and contribute their abilities to the development of Vietnam. And furthermore, ideologically educating kids, the nation's future, is a crucial stage in fostering the improvement of the educational quality. In the current state of affairs in Vietnam, students must take a total of 13 subjects at school, and however, none of us focusing on ideological education. So, adding a subject relating such a topic is essential. Some letters about the country's history and culture, the challenges that Vietnam has faced from time to time, and also the mission of a Vietnamese citizen in the unfolding revolution of Vietnam should be included in the curriculum of the subject. In addition to focusing on ideological education, modifying the educational system, the environment, is extremely critical. And firstly, there should be more investment to equip advanced technology facilities ubiquitously. Scientific research is a required component at every university in Vietnam. However, Vietnam still lags behind in terms of modern technology. Subsequently, it not only has a bad influence on intellectual quality, but it also leads to a redundance of abroad students to return, since they do not have an ideal environment to apply the in-depth information they had received abroad. Thus, increasing the budget to allocate for technological investment should be added in reducing the recurrence of the problem. Secondly, developing a fair educational system may minimize the ratio of non-returning students, thereby improving the brain drain situation. Indeed, the loosening of the management when it comes to educational system has been a controversial topic in Vietnam these days. To discourage such practices, the government should strengthen the recruitment and also the promotion of teachers, because these people play a hugely important role in nurturing the nation's future. And teachers in particular should be trained carefully, not only about professional knowledge, but also about the moral traits. Plus, individuals who fail to obey the rules, who fail to follow the rules, should be heavily punished to be a good example for others. Well, in addition to boosting the educational quality, enacting some effective regulations is undoubtedly critical in combating the ongoing crisis of brain drain in Vietnam. Taking lessons from the failures of previous policies, Vietnam should place a greater attention on developing new policies resolving the shortcomings of the previous ones. In other words, investing time and money, to properly analyze the reasons of failures and review, foreign countries' policies in holding talents should be done as soon as possible in order to enhance the quality of policies in Vietnam. Vietnam should send some experts to examine the ways that other nations are using to attract Vietnamese talents to work for them. And as a result of the in-depth research and analysis and the lessons learned from the others, more suitable policies may be implemented, which will help to reduce the seriousness of brain drain in Vietnam. Indeed, this method had been used before by a very, very great president of Vietnam, and he is called President Ho Chi Minh, an admirable, great Vietnamese leader. We usually call him Uncle Ho, and he found a road to freedom by traveling and living in some independent countries back then in 1911. And then he observed and he learned the key factors that lead to their freedom so that he can apply it to our country. And indeed, we eventually got our independence in 1975 thanks to him. Well, actually, Vietnam undoubtedly still has a number of limitations in the field of science and technology, such as a lack of innovative facilities. Well, however, it is a vital aspect in a country's development everywhere. Therefore, Vietnam should allocate a significant portion of its budget to compensate intellectuals working in this business. Although the government has increased the salary for those working in the sector, it is still kind of low compared to what students have invested in their studies abroad. Thus, a study on such matter to analyze the living costs standard in Vietnam combined with the average financial investment that students had made for their studies. In such way, it will help to prove the point that it is worth for overseas talents making a trade-off to come back and work in Vietnam. Again, a considerable rise in the salary for intellectuals would help to attract Vietnamese overseas talents, thus hastening the process of brain drain resolution. In conclusion, what brain drain has abroad as a social concern in Vietnam through the years, there are two major potential methods can be taken to handle such problem. Improving the educational quality with a focus on ideological education and elimination the obstacles of educational conditions is one key solution. And the second one is to implement sufficient policies by doing research with the goal of establish new policies and increase the salary to an appropriate amount so that it can attract foreign people, Vietnamese overseas people to come back. So, needless to say, brain drain phenomenon is an alarming issue in Vietnam that should be tackled as soon as possible for the sake of Vietnam, since it has a direct impact on the country's development. Thank you for your listening.